Welcome to the Leader's Edge, where we celebrate leadership and shine a light on the visionary leaders that are shaping our future. I'm HR Huntsman, the founder of Leader's Edge, creator of the Leader's Edge Performance Engine and Leader's Edge University. I'm thrilled to bring you stories from leaders who are making a difference around the world. In each episode, we champion the innovative strategies, courageous decisions, and inspiring journeys of those who lead with purpose and passion. So, whether you're looking to refine your leadership skills or you simply want to be inspired, my friend, you are in the right place. In this episode, you're going to meet Gary Specter. He's the CEO of Simpro, which is a total management software for commercial trade service businesses. Gary is passionate about collaborative leadership and carries himself with a tremendous humility. With over 25 years of high level leadership, he is still growing and learning. In just his first 2 years at Simpro, he has grown it from 90 million to 190 million in annual revenue. I have no doubt you're going to enjoy Gary's insights on leading through a network rather than a hierarchy. So thank you for joining my conversation with Gary Specter. Gary, thank you so much for joining me today on the show. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Absolutely. So I just want to jump in and I look at your track record of excellence. You've been in the business for a long time as a leader in different areas and different companies. I want to hear about your leadership journey. Share with my audience your leadership journey. And I want to start with what are the keys for you to sustained excellence? How do you stay at the top of the leadership game?
For me, it's taking one day at a time. And I certainly have in all jobs that I've had or leadership positions that I've been in, I certainly have a vision or a place where I'd like to get to. But I have found that not just in leadership, but in all things in life, it's take one day at a time, make progress every day, um, do the things that need to be done that day, whether they're easy or hard, and you get there.
Got it. Who's had the biggest impact on your life? Who led you to be a leader? Give us a little bit of your journey.
I don't know that there's any one person that led me to be a leader. Sometimes I wonder if I was an accidental leader. I really liked being an individual contributor. And at one point earlier in my career, around 2002, I was asked if I wanted to lead a team. And I had led teams earlier in my career as leading a bunch of Teamsters on a dock in transportation a long
Oh,
time
very
ago,
good.
but for whatever reason thought, what, I'll give it a shot, and found that I really enjoyed or got more out of helping other people than I did if I was successful on my own. And I would say that there were two people that were really instrumental in validating that I wanted to continue in leadership role. The CEO of Magento was a guy named Mark Lavelle, who I probably one of the best leaders, if not the best leader I had ever worked for. Obviously every leader has their strengths, and he had quite a few of them. And the other was a guy named Matt Thompson, who was the chief revenue officer of Adobe after Adobe had acquired Magento. And I learned quite a bit from Matt in a very short time, but I think those two individuals probably had the greatest impact on my wanting to be a leader and a North Star of who are the leaders that I aspire to be like.
What was it about those two gentlemen that inspired you and made you want to emulate them a little bit?
I think the biggest characteristic that they both shared was humility.
Yeah.
Very humble leaders. Both of them really wanted to bring out the best in you, and they did it in a really positive way. They made you feel like you could be better,
Yeah.
and they made you feel like you wanted to be better. And it was just the way that they approached me as an individual and as a leader in helping me understand what good looked like and what makes a good leader. And both of them had a lot of compassion. I tend to be a fairly emotional leader. Some leaders play between the 40-yard lines on the football field. I definitely play between the tens. I have highs and lows, and they really understood that about me and were able to help me harness and work through that in a better way to become a better leader. But they were very empathetic and provided great coaching in allowing me to rein that in a little bit when it needed to be.
That's beautiful. That servant leadership mindset has really taken hold in the last couple decades of The old dictator, tyranny, passion, lead, vision, just direction. I'm seeing in the last couple generations of leaders more of a servant leader. There is more empathy, there is more compassion. We are taking more time to listen. How are you? You're now the CEO of Simpro, and I want to hear about that journey a little bit, but how are you living that out with your team?
I try to do the same thing with my team, be empathetic, put myself in their shoes. But I think one of the things that I do that I really try to focus on, that I think it's the cornerstone of my leadership, is I give people a lot of room. And trust has to be earned. But I have found that if you really believe in people and you trust in them and you've got take the time to get to know them so that you're trusting the right people,
Sure.
if you give them the room to grow and lead, they will. And, and it doesn't mean that you don't provide guidance or guardrails. You certainly have to do that.
Okay.
But I have found that anytime that I can let my team run with as little guidance as I can give them, they become better high performers as leaders themselves and as performers. So I think while you really need to lean in and pay attention and listen and empathy and lead with empathy, I also think you need to make sure that people feel trusted so that they feel comfortable and confident to make decisions on their own.
Yeah.
And let them know that you're there for them to come back. Hey, look, I'm not comfortable making this decision by myself. Let me run it past you, tell you what I think, and then I'd love to get your opinion. And I prefer that style of leadership as opposed to me suggesting to my team what they do. I want my team to tell me what they think is right.
Okay.
I'll give them my opinion, and they don't certainly don't have to follow my opinion, and my current leadership team doesn't. They will do what they think is right. I do sometimes feel like, hey, as a CEO, I believe you have the right to veto a decision, but they each are incredibly good at what they do, and the more room I give them to run, the better they perform.
So you just brought up an interesting dynamic that I really want to dive into. We work with dozens of leaders across the country, and this dynamic between control and trust, the desire to have a team that is autonomous and proactive and self-sustaining, and yet you're the boss. There are standards. There are maybe you have a board that you report to. Gary, how do you walk that balance between needing certain outcomes, maybe desire to control, and the trust? How do you walk that line in yourself?
I think transparency and communication are probably the cornerstones to those
Okay.
things,
Yeah.
and making sure that your team understands what the expectation is. So
Okay.
for me, we share common goals that we have to provide how we're doing against those common goals to the board every day. And everything that we do centers around those common goals. And we talk about them on a daily basis. We give each other visibility to them. We do not operate in a silo. Our executive team is very tied together.
Okay.
Um, and all of the goals that each of them have are done in a way that supports the overall goals for the company. So there's a shared mindset. There's transparency around what's working and what isn't working. And the trust goes across the team. It's not just do they trust me, do I trust them? It's do we trust each other?
Okay.
And I think the stronger that trust or those bonds become, the more confident each of us become in our ability to make decisions, the right decisions, and lead. But I think it really comes down to transparency and the ability to communicate with one another.
I'd like you to teach us the nitty gritty of actually how this plays out at Simpro. What does your cadence of meetings look like? Your open communication, all those things. Like, how does it actually work?
If you look at it on the day to day, so my leadership team and I meet every Monday.
Okay.
We talk about the progress that we made in the prior week on our own KPIs and how that plays into our larger KPIs. And that's how we really start every meeting on a Monday is going through those. Where are we against our KPIs for the week, for the month, for the year?
And how many people are in that meeting?
There's seven.
Seven of
Me,
you.
me and seven direct reports, and we go around the room and everybody expresses what they did that week to pursue those KPIs
Love it.
so that there's transparency between us and help. Hey, have you thought about it like this? Or hey, what you did over here impacts what I do over here.
Okay.
And so we don't have these car wrecks or collisions because everybody sees what everyone else is doing. And
Right.
it's more, again, the idea is to create a network effect where we're all impacting each other, but not creating chaos for each other. And then Tuesday through Thursday, I get my team together for a very quick call. It's scheduled for 30 minutes, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But sometimes they last 5 minutes. We get on the phone and say, what help do you need? What obstacles do you have? And
Good.
sometimes everyone says, I don't have any. And we get off the phone. Other times it's, hey, this is what came up today. This is where I need help. And we can knock it out right there. And we have found that problems that sometimes take other teams 2 to 3 days to fix because they use email or whatever, we can knock out in 10 minutes because everybody's expected to be on that call every day. And it's just a touch base. Like I said, it can be 5 minutes, it can be 30 minutes. Oftentimes it's how's everyone doing today? Everyone doing okay today? And maybe it has nothing to do with work. Just how are you feeling? And everyone says, I'm feeling good. I have no issues. Great. Then we can go to the next.
Nice.
Sometimes it can be more personal in nature. Somebody has something interesting going on in their personal life and it's not work related. And we may talk about that. I think that helps strengthen the trust, but it also acts as a very, very critical and efficient way to remove barriers on a daily basis.
What would you say to the leader? Because we run up against this quite a bit when we propose production meetings, more, a stronger reporting cadence. What would you say to the leader who says, we don't have time for all those meetings, we have work to do?
So that used to be I was on that side of the fence.
Okay. Tell us about
And
this journey.
yeah, about a year and a half ago, someone suggested you should have these daily stand-ups. And I was like, there's no way. We're too busy to have I'm not doing that. I was
Perfect.
adamantly against it. And then I decided, you know what? I'll try it. I'll do it for a week or two. And I even some of the people on my team were like, Gary, that's too much. We can't meet every day.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once we started doing it, we found it to be highly effective. And everyone does have the time. You make the time. First of all, it's nice to have that personal connection on a daily basis because as leaders, you're out there, they always say it's lonely at the top. And each individual leader, whether you're the chief revenue officer, the chief marketing officer, you are at the top of whatever it is you're responsible for.
Right.
And that can get a little lonely and you don't have people that you can vent to. And what I've found is that these daily calls really give people a sense of belonging. Now you've got whether it's your herd, your pod, your ELT, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like you're part of something as opposed to this lonely guy at the top. One. Two, you have the time available to go solve a problem. I don't have to go hunt down one of my leaders. I know I'm going to talk to them at 2 o'clock. And if I've got a problem that I need help with, I can get it resolved right then and there. And then three, it really creates a bond and trust because these are the people that you're talking to on a daily basis.
I don't think many leaders understand how important that connection is. They just say, just go do your job, get to work, bring me problems if you have them. But that connection is vitally important for productivity, for longevity, for retention, all the long game. All the leaders that play the long game, they have these kinds of meetings.
100%, especially as we've gone to hybrid or work from
Yeah,
home and you're not in the office as much, you've got to find other ways to create those connections
right.
and build that trust. And I have found this to be a great way to do it.
That brings up a great point, Gary. How have you had to adapt your leadership over the decades to the changing talent pool, the work culture, especially since COVID? Millennials, Gen Z have different wants and needs, different work-life integration. How have you had to change?
I think that I recognize in myself as a baby boomer, dating myself there, but each of the generations, I think, respond to different types of communication.
Okay, good.
And as a baby boomer, I'm definitely old school. And I know that when I'm talking to someone else who's my age, it's a lot easier just to pick up the phone and have a conversation. And then I know that once I get down to the millennials will respond to email, Gen Z, Gen X, like use text.
Yeah.
I'm not on any of the social networks. I'm not a big social media guy, but I have found that internally we use Slack and that works better with younger people. My team knows, being the age that I am, you want to get a hold of me, I prefer a phone call or a text as opposed to a Slack.
Okay.
But I think that the one thing I've learned is you have to make the effort to reach out to people. And so I do check on my team on a daily basis, even if they're going to miss the stand up or I don't have them in the stand up.
Yeah.
I make it a point to reach out to every person that I'm responsible for supporting and checking in to see how they're doing. And I don't think I go a day without talking to anyone. I don't go, I know that I don't go a day without talking to everyone that is on my executive team.
Wow, that's impressive. A Gallup poll just came out a few weeks ago that indicated that 77% of Gen Y and Gen Z, so millennials and Gen Z, are moderately to severely isolated. They feel moderately to severely isolated. And I don't think many leaders understand the opportunity we have to provide connection to satisfy some of those human needs at work. And some may say that's not our job. We have work to do. But if you can provide that level of connection, it breeds the trust you're talking about, the culture you're looking for.
I think, look, people will work as hard as they're motivated to work. And so if you don't do the things to motivate a person, you're not going to get everything out of them that you want. And certainly people are self-motivated. I believe that if you had to stack rank self-motivation from 1 to 10, I'm probably a 10.
Okay.
I am incredibly self-motivated, but I know that if I don't feel supported or I don't feel connected, that motivation, it's harder.
Right.
It's harder to get up every day and go fight the good fight. And when I feel that I'm supported and there's communication within my team or from my leadership or whatever, it makes my self motivation a lot more powerful.
I guess we would be remiss if we didn't talk about what you actually do at Simpro, what all these leaders do, and all these conversations are about. Tell us about your product and your service there.
Sure. I think the easiest way to say it is that we really empower trade and field service professionals with technology to improve their operational efficiencies and really become more profitable as companies. And that really ties in well to what I would say is our mission statement. We're a field services platform that powers the trades. And we allow these companies to run very efficiently and effectively and tie back into a back-end system or an ERP system and
Yeah.
pretty much do everything else. It's the heartbeat of these companies. And it's the thing that's the most gratifying about this business is that we get to see other business owners, SMB to mid-market to large enterprises, become more successful, provide better services, do better for themselves. And it's nice to be a part of that as opposed to some of the other platforms that I've sold in the past that were the benefit of businesses that benefited big corporations. It's
Hey,
still fulfilling, but certainly not to this extent.
okay, very good. What are you most proud of?
Um, in relation to Simpro or
Yeah, your leadership, Simpro, the legacy you're
uh,
leaving.
I think that it's hard to say what you're most proud of if you look back. I would say that I'm really proud of the team that we've assembled here. I'm really proud of the culture that we're building at Simpro. We certainly did some great things at Adobe and Magento and NetSuite and some of the other companies that I worked for. But I think this has been the most impactful for me, maybe because I'm in a CEO role as opposed to another role.
Right.
We've grown this company from 90 million to 190 million in less than 20 months, 22 months, I think,
It's impressive.
both through inorganic and organic growth, primarily inorganic growth. We made one really great strategic acquisition, and the velocity which this team has executed has been, I've just never seen it anywhere else. And it's been really fun to watch these operators that I'm a part of their team
Yeah,
just execute. Is it flawless? No, but it's been outstanding.
I love it. Final question. I always like to ask senior leaders like yourself who have decades of sustained excellence. If you're talking to a young lady, young man coming right out of college or trade school, or they just want to grow their career, as leaders, what advice would you give to that young person who wants to grow and advance in their career?
Network, meet as many people as you can. I got into soft in a fluke by talking to somebody on an airplane. And I think that if you have a genuine interest and curiosity about other people, and you make an effort to network, talk to people, and see what they do, there's a lot of really great ways to make a living in this world. Some of us are fortunate enough to make a living at things we love. I would love to be able to make a living playing golf or doing something else but that's probably not in the cards for me. And I've got to find another way to make a living. And what I found was that you talk to people and there's all sorts of different types of work or ways to survive and move forward and have a fulfilling life. And I was fortunate. I met someone on an airplane who talked to me about software sales. And then I talked my way into a job, and it's wound up being 25 years now, and I guess 27 years now, and I've never looked back.
Yeah. I picked up two things from that. I love the network piece, but one thing that maybe it's so natural to you that you didn't say, but it's in your story is network and then follow every opportunity or follow the opportunities. Lots of people have conversations on planes. They don't necessarily follow those opportunities to their end. Gary, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your experience, your wisdom that you shared with us. Our passion is to empower leaders. We believe small business is the backbone of the American economy. Leaders are the drivers of our economy. So I appreciate your time and experience and sharing that with our audience. So thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let's keep in touch.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That's it for today's show. Thank you for joining us on The Leader's Edge. I hope today's conversation inspired you to lead with even greater purpose and impact. My big three takeaways from my conversation with Gary Specter are: number one, lead through a connected network rather than a directed hierarchy. That old model of the directed hierarchy is dying, and if you're not evolving, you're going to be left behind. Number two, his weekly executive meetings and daily huddles keep his team on track and in alignment. And closely related to that is number three. He was strongly against all those meetings to start with. He said, we don't have time for that. But he learned that those meetings are a force multiplier if run well. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. I'd love a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more leaders just like you. Please stay connected with us on social media for behind-the-scenes content, leadership insights, and updates on future episodes. Check us out at yourleadersedge.com and follow us at Leaders Edge Podcast on all major platforms. Also, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to stay connected with you. So until next time, keep pushing boundaries and leading at the edge. I'm HR Huntsman, and I'll see you in the next episode.